you're going to have to diversify. That's why, the theme that we talked about earlier, investing in the companies across industries that are going to benefit from AI, is another much more diversified play on artificial intelligence, and the technology change that's coming about from that.
What's just your general sense of where we're going to be in the next 6 to 12 months or the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I think that the technology story is very strong, and that technology is really driving the economy, right? And that's increasingly so. It has been true. It's increasingly true. And there's goods and bads to that, right? The bad of that is just investing in the tech sector will just give you a huge amount of concentration, particularly if you do it as a market cap weighted like ETF type of investing. You're just going to have huge concentration in 6 stocks, 7 stocks, right? That's not enough diversification for a lot of reasons, right? If you want more diversification, I think most people probably should want that. You're going to have to diversify. That's why, the theme that we talked about earlier, investing in the companies across industries that are going to benefit from AI, is another much more diversified play on artificial intelligence, and the technology change that's coming about from that. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll stop there and take a
Yeah, that's good. I mean,
question.
whenever you give an example, like maybe bring this to life, right? Like maybe it's like, for example, it could be Tesla and automation of the big trucks that we've been hearing about, right? That's going to be driving themselves across the country for all the transfer of all the stuff from Amazon. That's going to be delivering, packages with the drones and AI. I mean, can you give us like a practical example of what you mean by this, and maybe one that you think that most people wouldn't even think about, right? I mean, we know automation of cars. But what kind of comes to mind when it comes to this?
Absolutely. So one that probably a lot of people don't think about is farming. Farming is agribusiness, agriculture, huge business globally, very investable, and farming is about predicting weather, predicting how different crops are gonna perform better given soil conditions, which can be determined from satellites and other on the ground methods. So you have all these sensors. You have satellite sensors for weather and ground. You have local sensors in the ground telling you what the nutrients are, what the carbon level is, et cetera. And when we merge all this data, we can better process it through artificial intelligence to get better yields from farmland, more optimal yields from farmland, and do it in a very dynamic way that's responsive to what the predicted conditions of weather are going to be even a year from now. I mean, there are companies out there now that are selling artificial intelligence-based forecasts to farmers that are a year out, right? So that you actually have time to change the crop, in addition to all the other factors that go into optimizing yields. This is just one example of something that we don't hear about every day. Another example would be banks. Banks have lots of people in them today that do knowledge worker like tasks, which are data based, about assessing risks, all the kinds of risks that banks are lending to. You and me for our credit cards, all kinds of businesses, right? And they want to understand, if can they optimize, not only reduce the number of manual work, but more quickly and more accurately assess the risk of all the people they're lending to, not only just when they lend, but over time as that relationship develops. If they can do all of this stuff in real time using all this data that's out there, they can avoid loss, they can increase their earnings. They can reduce the amount of manual work. They can also increase their earnings. All this stuff falls to earnings. That's another kind of thing that it's kind of in the back office, people don't think about, but these are huge drivers of huge industries.